Hi guys, Dr. Pam, Academic Coaching for World Changers here. Just thought we'd drop in and do a couple of questions for you. One of the biggest areas in all the exams really has to do with understanding normal human development. And many times what I'll hear for all of the tests is it's very vague. They may not even mention Piaget or Kohlberg or Freud, Ericson, all of those names the question may not even mention. I can't tell you how many times the people come back and say, I didn't have any human development test questions. Yeah, you did. On many of the exams, there are between 20 and 24% of the test. Either it's knowing my theorist or it's a question about normal human behavior. So people always ask me, is there a great way to remember Ericson? I don't have any acronyms. I really don't. I just try to tell you have to learn them because Ericson said you can get stuck in a stage and that's a crisis. Okay? Freud talked about the word fixated, but Ericson used crisis. An identity crisis is really about someone who's between the ages of 13 and 21, and they're kind of stuck. He also used the word moratorium. What he said is actually he thought college was a moratorium when between 13 and 21, I'm not quite ready to grow up. But the best way that I try to teach most of our clients is to remember that Anna Freud went to school with Erikson. So the first three stages of Erikson always line up with the first three stages of Freud. So oral, anal, phallic, OAPLG, of course, that belongs to Freud. Erikson's stages, then, the first three are going to be, so trust versus mistrust lines up with the oral stage. Autonomy versus shame and doubt lines up with the anal stage. The third one, Freud said that's my phallic stage, right, where I find my toy box. Electra and Oedipus syndromes. Electra, the girl is in love with her father, and Oedipus starts with the O, but it's pronounced Oedipus. The little boy is in love with his mother, and he's afraid the father's going to find out. A lot more on Freud, but a different day. But this one, remember, so stage 3 is initiative versus guilt. And again, that's going to line up with that phallic stage that Freud used. So then I get to my next stage. That's going to be industry versus inferiority. Erikson said in elementary school, if I don't figure out what I'm good at, then I will feel inferior for the rest of my life. So one of my biggest pet peeves is when I was doing practice and using this theory is you've got a kid who's doing really okay in school. Okay, not the smartest one. And we all know school is not made for everybody. However, he's doing great in band, in volleyball, in sports, or something. And parents pull him out of the sports because he's not doing well in school. It's a lot different if he's not applying himself. But if he's applying himself and still really struggling, we all need someplace in life to feel good about ourselves. So one of the things we really want to encourage parents to do is not pull them out of the one thing that they feel good at. If not, according to Erikson, I'll feel inferior. And I can be, 25, 35, 45 and still feel inferior if I didn't get that stage met appropriately. So the next stage is that 13 to 21, right? Identity versus role confusion, as I mentioned earlier. After that, he said, that's the goal of that stage is fidelity, to learn to be true to yourself. The next stage, of course, is then going to be intimacy versus isolation. Then you go into my generation, that is stagnation versus generativity. Oh, wow, I'm sorry. Stagnation versus generativity. And then my last stage, I'm looking back over my life, that's ego integrity versus despair. I'm looking back over my life and hoping that I did the right thing. That's the ego that I'm happy with. Myself is happy with the choices I made. Let me give you a question, guys. I'll read the question and give you a couple minutes to figure it out before I read the answers, okay? So, according to Erikson, psychosocial therapy, what stage of development corresponds to the middle adulthood? Okay, so that is my question. What stage of Erikson what stage of Erikson corresponds to middle adulthood? First of all, I'm thinking it's one line. They could have given me more. And when the heck is middle adulthood? So what I know is old people, that's the term we're looking for. Older people are 70 and above. Okay. I know that Ericson's last stage starts at 65. So I'm thinking that's at least after I've retired. So if I'm talking about people that are in there, and the term he used in this book is middle adulthood, that probably means my people that are in the ages between 40 and 65, which would be the stage that I'm in. So the choices are industry versus inferiority, trust versus mistrust, intimacy versus isolation, or stagnation versus generation. I'll give you a minute to think about it. Again, if you want to stop your camera and come back, it's really okay. I'm sorry, but if you want to stop your video and go back to the questions, you feel free to. If not, just go ahead and go along with us. So my answer to that one is going to be between 41 and 65. That, of course, is generativity versus stagnation. That's the stage I'm in, right? I'm worrying about living a legacy. I want it to matter that I've been here in life. So I'm worried. I am not stagnated. I'm not stuck. I am definitely looking about leaving a legacy. Hope you get that question, guys. Thanks for tuning into this short